In this episode of K11 in Nesso Design Talks, we're gonna see the K11 Shanghai inspired by a butterfly, the K11 Musea in Hong Kong inspired by the port, and the K11 Wuhan, the music machine. Hello and welcome back to this second episode about K11 inside the Nesso Design Talks. I'm Antonio Minonne, on the other side of the world there's Budi Barati. Ciao Budi.
Ciao.
And today we're gonna see how it evolves the design, the idea, the small flames that we described in the last episode to a gigantic and game changer shopping mall. Especially in Asia Pacific. So today we're talking about the design of K11, but first of all, let's recap the main point of the last episode. So in the last episode we see the story, the background of Adrian Chen, coming from a real estate family, but passionate about art and culture, and he decided to infuse this element inside a retail space. So he create like a melting pot in which art, people, and nature come out inside this mixed retail experience. And the last things we saw is the genesis, so the embryon of his first prototype of a art shopping mall in K11 Hong Kong. Today we're gonna see one of the first K11 as we saw today is the one in Shanghai. That is wrapped up to a main concept that is the butterfly.
I think this is our first encounter with K11. We first seen it in Shanghai, and we were amazed by how curated, how art melts seamlessly with the retail space. I think this project started in 2013. She opened in 2013 by the studio Kokai. It's a collaboration. So as Antonio said, the main concept was having the butterflies, but also integrating for the first time the green organic architecture inside the shopping center. So
and we can see the butterfly inside the design.
Exactly.
If you see, we have this kind of a balcony, that's host this art piece, because they are really art pieces that were especially curated for this shopping mall.
So this is the main entrance where you enter, and you have 2 access points with many very luxury, high value brands. The center here, you go to the lower levels, and you have the ground level on the right side. So I just wanted to highlight that this shopping center embodied completely the idea of art, people, and nature. So the art is more evident here, has its own space, very clear, and the nature is visible not only in greenery and vegetation, also in the architecture. So I think this is a big step up in design term. So I think what I understood from my research, that this shopping center had like an old terrace before K11, and they tried to rebuild on top of it and keep the history, let's say, revive it in a new modern way. The building was, if I remember correctly, New World Tower before it, and they took the base and then constructed a completely new element on top of it. One of the great examples of in this shopping center is how they transform the space completely. So you see this seamless, normal shopping area. And then in the next slide, you see here there is a completely different space. It feels like it, but it's exactly the same space from the same point of view, looking at different event, different timeline. They gain the ability to change, reform spaces, curate them in a completely different way, just by adding or creating these kind of pop-up art and retail experiences. Also, because in the end, all of this is kind of retail, even if it's art, but it is helping the retail experience. I think with the foundation, the K11 Art Foundation, they learned very well how to curate the spaces.
Let's look at the section and we guide you through the space. So this one is the main entrance. It's the one when you access when you are on the street, and you enter in this area that is let's say is like the sunken square of a shopping mall. But here they use it in a, let's say, more sophisticated way, because you have the stores around, no? These are the main, we call it anchor brands. It's the, let's say, the most popular, or the most, also is the most profitable real estate for the brand. And you have this gigantic waterfall with this butterfly that we see in this position. And so the bottom part is more retail. The top part, no, instead is the statement of the brands. This second access from the lower part actually for the level B1 and B2. Actually, these two level, let's say, is not like second tier brands, because this is the space when you have temporary exhibition, when you have a pop-up. There's a kind of a market of niche brand selected by K11. Instead, the level B3 is really important because it's the art gallery. So it's a museum, is a slash between a museum and an art gallery, in which they have some temporary exhibition, like a museum.
All year round, they have different exhibitions active all the time. Here we're at the B1 level. The first entrance you see from the top of the escalator, and you have this kind of all open glass roof, which brings a lot of light and is suspended or held by two tree-like structures. So I really like the architecture of it. They implemented this kind of organic
and again
structure.
Here is the mixing between art and nature, no? They give this organic elements that actually function as a structure.
So here what Antonio talked about before, about the facade, you see the flowers, you see the integration, like it's a suspended garden with many levels. I think this was the initial idea behind it.
Because again, we need to have the natural element, not only the art element. So we can see the top view is actually a garden.
Yeah. So this here is the main entrance. You access the B1 area from here, and here you have the main floor, the ground floor. I guess. I mean, the layout from the outside is quite simple, but inside it becomes a little bit narrow for the first floor.
This is instead the B1 floor. So once we enter from the escalator, No, we have this area that are more used as a, let's call it market, but basically is a mix between a temporary store and a pop-up or select of small brands that maybe they are entering in the Asian market. Instead, all the place around is for the normal tenant.
Here we reach another key element of the retail building, which is the rooftop. It has multi functions. It is first of all a garden. Then they dedicated a small area, right? Is this here?
Yes.
For the events, organization, and so on. I think both areas together between the garden and the event creates a really nice environment, specifically during the night or sunset. If you stand there, it's really beautiful. Between all this greenery, you have these towers, really beautiful, romantic, let's say, space.
Let's say that this is both the natural element, so they have to provide some outside space that actually is free to access. There's the elevator that brings you there. They took advantage of this thinking in a real estate mindset. They took advantage of this space and combined with some of the space inside that before was used as a garage, so they transform in an event location for call it the garage, no? And in that way they can have the bar inside that is let's say covered against the frequent rain of Shanghai, and they can access the outdoor garden for events.
Just for context, this is the main entrance. So if you stand here, you see the sunken square or sunken shape, and this is the street. So both looking down on each sides are really nice scenery. So they mention the art and the natural element. So of course they had a urban farm, and they took it quite serious, no? Because literally serious.
No, they literally they had some period in which they were farming some animal, or more like a garden, where growing some plants, that I saw this in personal. I was there, and maybe you cannot spot that well, but in the back here there was also a greenhouse for butterflies.
For this, just to mention that they received the LEED Golden Level certificate for this kind of initiative, let's say. It was not as common as today. I think this is the main reason why they got the certificate. And in general, especially talking about the K11 all K11 projects, they try to be as eco-friendly as possible. So they try to do the circular economy. In the construction, I read this in the annual report that the in-out production materials is the net is zero. So every trash or material excess material from the construction have been used and utilized in different areas. So there will be not so many
pure waste.
Pure waste, exactly. Then also about the energy, there is in the report talking about the light design and the heating system or cooling system are well balanced enough that they consume less energy in the same range size shopping in comparison to same size shopping centers. So they have this kind of initiative, which is I think is a cool cool thing to have in a real estate.
Match the brands,
Yeah.
their commitment from nature. So,
Yeah, because the word
it's quite
nature
natural.
doesn't only mean vegetation. It means everything. So you've seen the piggies, you've seen the real green vegetation, also being eco-friendly. And of course, a K11 project is not concluded or not complete without a real estate business. So here
this
you
is
see
the second entrance for the office buildings. Basically, this is access to the tower that is on top of the shopping mall, no? And get access to all the real office buildings. It's way more than an office building. We're gonna see the inside. They have many feature that we will see in the next episode.
Yes. Now we are going to talk about, let's say, the biggest, most impressive K11 project. This project got everybody by surprise, from the sheer size of it, the budget, how much design went into it. It was really a game changer completely for K11 themselves. It was a step up, really a big step up for the brand. I call it a brand, but bear with me. It's for us, it's a brand because they like a multi-brand brand.
It is.
Yeah. Okay.
Go on.
So we talk about Musea K11 in Hong Kong. So after his success in China, I think he got enough capital to go back and renovate K11 Hong Kong. They kept the K11 Hong Kong, the original one, but they built a new one closer to the port, closer to the Victoria port, and
I wanted to spend two words about the naming. It's genius, because it's a mix between the sea and the relation with the sea, and we're gonna see it, and the museum. So
exactly. Two things
art,
that you can, exactly.
Yes, art and nature blended together is a really nice naming.
Yes. Yeah, as you said, because of its location on the port, they call it Muse by the Sea, but in the same time, the double pun. So the design was done by KPF Studio, and I think it is a very unique project in architecture-wise, because every detail have been designed specifically to match the we call it SI in retail. It's kind of like the store identity, the brand identity of K11. So for example, from the suspended gardens that they created in in Shanghai, they brought them here, but at the same time they smoothed all the edges, so you have more organic feeling inside. The same kind of language. The tower has more or less similar shapes, but the retail space, the shopping center, is completely redesigned. We have connection bridges between
bridge.
And you have the view over the Victoria Bay. So we start from the B2. As the same, similar to Shanghai, they left the food for the lower ground. Then we have the B1, which includes the parking lot for the cabs, the sunken plaza, similar to Shanghai but in a different feeling, and you have the Legoland. Then on the ground floor you have the open theater. This, I think, the idea is taken from K11 Hong Kong Art Mall, the open space, the donut playground, and the Muse edition. Here we have I think there is a specific element in most of the floors. It's called the big steps. It's a way for people to obviously move from one floor to another, but in the same time to sit because that's why they call them big steps, because there is one side for walking and the other side for sitting. We will see it later on in the pictures. There's the gold ball here on the second floor. On the third floor, on the fourth floor is the K11 art house. Next floor. Okay, the next important element, I think, is the 8th floor, because it houses the green nature park. We will see it later on in the details. So to wrap some of the points, this is the giant stair, the big stairs we're talking about. You can go up from the right side, from the left side you can sit. Some of the details that I like is these kind of small green elements inside, and obviously you have this mesmerizing dome architecture like structure. So I think again the budget for this project was this is a big number, $2.6 billion. I think the inspiration here was the classical volta structures, in a way, in an oculus kind of way, to hose and to shine light to the entire structure. The entire structure is kind of organically designed. I like that the structure, it seems complicated, but if you break it down, it is different layers added on top of each other. So the main structure is nice, but it has small details, not too much complicated, but then they added these kind of organic lines on top of them to make them obviously for beauty purpose, but also to make it more organic. So I found some of the pictures of the original design. So you see the base is really quite simple, and then you add on top of it the curves, which you see here. If you look at it like this, it is simpler as in comparison to what you see as a final product. I like this kind of mindset because it saves a lot of in cost and complication in design. Then you have the sphere, the glass sphere, which I found it hard to find a picture from inside. Really, I was desperate until I found a profile picture from IWC profile, and they have their own pop-up store inside. I think it's one of the best positions to have a retail pop-up.
Yeah, it's quite impressive.
Everybody wants to come here to see what's inside.
Let's go back to a few slides, because I want to analyze a bit this what we see here. Is really eye-catching, and actually, when at first sight is as you mentioned, it looks quite richful, quite impressive. We of course we read it as a designer, so we are able to disassemble this layer by layer. I think design-wise, the innovation, the greatest innovation that they have was of course the visual identity. So they choose this kind of brass, reddish brass tones that warm up a lot of the space, because most of the shopping mall that we see are cold white. They tend to be quite flat. Instead, here with a few elements that are not that overwhelming, they create this movement, this decoration light, because you need to understand it's such a big space. It's easy to add details because of course of the big quantity of the material involved. So it's like if you realize a really big sunken square like this, in which you can have some movement and some decoration light, it will be costly less effect than in a single store.
Sure.
So they took this advance. They place many decoration in a strategic place. For example, when we have the roof, that integrate the spotlights. So in this area, they add some waves that recall the undersea kind of language, using one direction curve. So instead they use an impressive three-dimensional curve shape, in first of all in a place where everybody will pass by, so is the connection between the ground floor and the first floor, so it's most likely 80% of the people
will pass by.
And they have this gigantic sphere that somehow is like a pearl inside all these waves.
And also the lights are kind of like the same style as you said. I think it's the inspiration is like sea life element.
Sea life
pearl.
or the waves of the sand under the waves.
So the next element is an light art installation that represent the port, the Victoria Port area. They wanted to represent properly the location of the shopping center, so they created this kind of intricate seems like a transportation system,
like a forest of a crane, that are working. This is an homage to the city. And again, they make it a bit more gentle with the usage of these lights.
You can see here. They found also the original design. I think the original design they wanted to go with more brass color, but in the end they ended up with more aged brass. For the rooftop, they have these kind of garden, like greenhouse structures that you come out of, and then you can see the garden on the rooftop. The inspiration, I think, is taken from this kind of sketch. They liked this idea of having the light,
the gazebo, kind of gazebo with the
yes. And I'm gonna show also the layout of the garden on top, which you have the green in the center, you have the gazebo on the left top side, and you have trees and places to sit all around. And then you have this kind of tunnel on the top right side, which we'll see later on in the pictures. So this is how it looks like. It looks completely like a different world. You jump into a garden, tropical space. If you see, there's some tropical trees.
Urban farm is also a urban farm.
Yes.
But no, this is a really good example analyzing the layout. If you see, the layout has been thought for different kind of usage and also for different kind of experience. Because I would say living in Shanghai, in China, they tend to over-design the space, and it's more like a virtuoso usage of the gardening. And sometimes they forgot the future that is most important for us for Western people is the pure grass, where you can sit. For me, I spend most of my university here in Bologna, where we have the Giardini Margherita with these huge grass fields when people can sit. There's concert, there's events, there's class. Here we have both. We have part that are more design, part when we have the more open space, and you can see the connection with nature. Don't forget that we are in Hong Kong, and we are close. It's a really hot environment, so it's really important to have shades. And here they use many part as a shades. And plus their connection with nature is also the discovery of the growing nature. So that's why in the next slide we can see the urban farming. I think it's more common in the Western world, but also in this K11 was pioneering to bring to the Asian.
I think so. But I think also having these kind of green points in the city, they're quite relaxing. I remember our favorite studio before we left. It has similar vibes, an open, like a terrace with a green area. It feels really amazing. Then I just wanted to show also what Antonio was talking about the shade. They have these kind of different areas with the shade, and this was one of them with arches, classical arches from greenhouse kind of classical style, bohemian style, but they added some organic element to them.
It's like more it's like in Shanghai, we have this kind of parametric organic trees that have the function. So this is
it's an evolution of that version, I think.
It's evolution.
That version was kind of like this, more simple.
Open.
Now they have more curved surfaces. But it's an evolution in the same. Is a correct.
This is like a grape tree, like grape trees. In Italy, we kind of have this gazebo when you try to cover and have this passage. So I think still the gardening, And here the natural element is the trade union, is the concept that drive all the concept. This it's been happen when is able to happens when of course you have found, because this structure is not cheap. So this is what the great opportunity, having a background of real estate, you have more control on the real estate, more also more security, because you don't have a landlord to refer to. Having such a great taste, he saw the opportunity to push more the design, push more the identity of the brand of the shopping mall, because K11 is the most recognizable. We have some other example of shopping mall chains in Asia, or
like SKP,
in other part of the world, like SKP, but it's nice, it's good, but it's not so
luxurious. It feels good, but it doesn't
but it's
have
not
this...
so recognizable as a K11.
I agree. I guess if K11 wants to go global, they can make big impact worldwide, I think. So I think one other thing that I wanted to show, it's seems random a little bit, but I really love it. These kind of in the entranceway, they have these kind of windows, and these windows have specific architecture. From my background, I'm half Syrian, half Italian, so my Arabic part tells me this is an Arabic design. And then by doing some research, I understood that these kind of mashrabiya, what we call them in Arabic design, they took this kind of language. Obviously, as Antonio said, in a sunny, humid city like Hong Kong, you need shades. So creating mashrabiya will cool down the space and then add a lot of beauty to it at the same time. Sorry.
And now, if you ask why an Asian-based company take as a reference the Arabic, the answer is really easy.
So it's the Silk Road, first of all, because of the connection between the the peninsula, Arabic peninsula, through the Silk Road to Asia. The second part is the port element also, because this city is famous for being a trading city, a port, a hub for the entire world. So I think it makes a lot of sense.
Last example that we see is a place that we are quite connected for a reason that we will show you in the next episode.
Yeah, stay tuned for the next episode. It will be quite.
We go to a famous city in China. It's called Wuhan.
Yeah, you might know it from the last 3 years, maybe. But
actually, it's quite a nice city. It's a huge city, and they have one of the most impressive.
I think K11 here in this project, later after Musea, started to try to change the concept of play a little bit on the city, on the place, on concept. So for example, this specific example, the specific space is all driven, the concept is driven from the music box. So they for example, in Musea we saw that they took inspiration from the Victoria Port. They used the water, the sea, the sand, the pearls. In this concept they tried to experiment with something new, music, about a music box, the mechanical part, how music box disrupted in a cubic, let's say cubism school, if you break it down, how you can create a shopping center. I think the nice touch here that it is mechanical, it's a mechanical music box, but in the same time having the brass, the gold, the marble on the flooring makes it much more elegant and gives you this feeling. It doesn't make you feel like this is a machine. It makes you feel like this is an elegant machine, something elegant. So I quite like it. I have some comments on the stairs. This is the only thing that I don't like. It feels like a
same. Too much.
yes. The rest I really love. The ceiling on top, the window. I like the idea of they kind of completely shifted the organic tree element. The pillar, because in Shanghai and Musea they used the kind of tree-like shape. Here they changed the tree top to a circle. It's like a mechanical part in a more organic way. I love this part. To understand the concept, this is the initial idea, the initial sketch. So they, as I said before, they wanted to break down the music box and how you can apply this in the entire shopping center, from restroom to an entire building, all of it in the same idea.
This is what we were talking before, no? If you see of the organ that is kind of pillar, no, and this pipe that is a mix between organic, and a parametric kind of structure, is incredible, beautiful. Even on site, I've been there. It's amazing. The gear on the stairs, on the escalator, it feels a bit too much.
Yes,
to be honest,
I guess so.
It's a bit disruptive.
The organ.
Again, no, the organ is a music machine. It's a music box, so it makes a lot of sense to have it, and actually is a really nice vertical element. No, they always trying to find these elements. In Hong Kong, we see the sphere, the space in. The layout also is different, because in Wuhan is really narrow and really long. It takes a couple of blocks, so That's why I think also in the square of the shopping mall they have this more vertical element.
I just wanted to show the original vision of the entrance, and I think this was taken also from Musea's rooftop. They kept the same idea. I'm just trying to connect the dots of how the designers and teams have shifted from one point to another. So I think this was taken from the rooftop, from the Bohemian arches. They tried to create a garden in the same language, but as a gate in this situation.
Yeah, a floating garden.
The stairs, the way they always try to create spaces for like public spaces, as we said before.
For happenings.
Yes, yes. There is always possibility in empty spaces for something to happen. So this is quite beautiful. And I move to my favorite, because I personally like organic shapes. So for me, the ceiling, the way it just kind of wraps and creates this kind of like a bubble, melting bubble. I really like it. So here I want to talk about the art and culture. They created a space for all art and culture, and they dedicated an entire floor in K11 Musea. And only this floor have a completely different design to kind of highlight how important is this kind of business, or this kind of branch of business, which we will see in the next episode of this brand of K11. So if you notice, the top floors are all the same language, smooth with kind of brass kind of touch. Only this floor have plexiglass, or I would say, kind of plexiglass pipes, which we should do an episode on. We've done a project on a small scale, a pop-up space similar to this.
My favorite project so far.
Yes, yes. But I think this is why I like it, because this is why I wanted to highlight this, because I have this kind of fond feeling of this kind of using the simplest shapes as our favorite architect Nendo does usually, using the simplest shapes to create the biggest impact.
Okay, so that's it for today's episode. If you see, there's a big evolution from what we see on the first Hong Kong K11 to what is becoming today, and actually it's something that is on evolution. More and more are planned. We're gonna see the other location in the next episode. And in the next episode, we're gonna talk something about us, about our story.
The third episode will be quite interesting. We will talk about us personally, our one of our collaborations, and many more business development in K11. So
share, like, and
subscribe.
See you next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.